I'm Rod Duff from Insights and Straight Talk. And with that, folks, I am out. What do you think about the end of that? I had one of my friends, Barron. Actually, he's been on the show. He was looking at that intro earlier today and really loved it. Which I'm putting another edit in. I noticed there wasn't a reference to producer Barbie in any of that. So I thought it'd be a good idea to throw something in there. So we're working on that right now. But it made me think about, but Barron said it was, it's too bad the very end of that was grainy or fuzzy. I said, no, we did that on purpose, trying to make an effect. So we'll see how that goes. I also want to put in some Barbie-isms in there, so to speak. Those who've known you and or her a long time, known me or her a long time, you know what a Barbie-ism is, and they're freaking awesome. But on to other things, this whole thing it has been growing so much. I'm still putting in, I'm doing data entry. That's one of the reasons I want to come over here. I hate data entry. No disrespect for data entry people. God bless them. They can focus all that time. That's not in my wheelhouse, as you could tell by the show day in and day out. But what I really wanted to get to was, I thank everybody. We're starting. I mean, we made a request to, help us and support us, and people have actually started sending in donations, sending in help for their own podcast, their own show. Because they have amazing and important stories. So now we're trying to, you've seen them, add the shorts, add the mids, the additional video informing people of this message and of the guests and their individual message. So I really appreciate all that. It's been awesome. I did want to go through a couple of the shows coming up. I told you about Sam Mitchell. I think it's rockin'. Let's see. He has a podcast. He has he's on the scale in autism. I mean, he literally is autistic. I haven't had much conversation with him. But the thing that's amazing me about this particular subject is so much we used to know. As we're learning, we find out we don't know that much. I mean, in any and all differences in the human species, we're actually learning that a lot of those differences are actually advantages. Don't know why. Not trying to figure that out, but tomorrow we're going to talk with Sam, and then the next day we've got Patrick Ellers, a mental health journey. It's not about the journey; it's about the destination, getting there, making it through. Any of you who know that subject, we actually do several different looks at this subject because it's very important and it's personal. Honestly, it really is. It hasn't become any less personal, but it's really exciting to be able to talk about that. And then we have let's see, on the 27th, the same day, the 27th is going to be crazy. I have 3 discussions that day. I have an hour discussion, an hour break, an hour discussion, an hour break. Fortunately, it didn't. I put in those blocks because we had a couple of times, if you guys remember, I was panicking. We had like 3 back to back. In other words, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4. And you know how I talk and how the show goes. We originally were just setting it for a hour show, but it's kind of turning into almost an hour and a half show. I'd love to be a Joe Rogan and be able to really get those conversations out into the 3 hours. His stuff is just so fascinating. I admire his program and his platform. And really look forward to continue building this one. So there were a couple other ones that are coming up. The mental health with Patrick Ellers, and then we have Pete Moore. This is a really good conversation because Pete Moore is talking about, this whole thing is about the sorry guys, about the middle class, the great middle class, everything that empowers, informs, or what the middle class is concerned about is the things that we talk about. We've talked, like I said, mental health. We've talked about finances, crypto, politics, current events, health, medical, right? And finances. We've had several, not just crypto. I kind of look at that different, and AI, but then finances. We have several investors have had and continue to have several people that show us ways that point out at no cost, that point out ways to safely put things into place for residual and continual income throughout our aging times. Of course, when you're younger too, it's just when you're aging, it's closer. Really sorry about that. So, and then we have Alina Wilson. She's a med spa owner, and she through that life mission that she's had, it's very successful. I was looking at her, or they have it's a very successful operation, but she also is an author and written books on what was the old way? Don't give up on aging easily or something like that. But she talks about how aging and how to do it to make it honorable, to make it all the things that it should be at its best. I'm just going to leave that out there. And because this is a subject I'm really curious about, because, there's reasons. So, and yeah, as much as there is beauty, there's also mindset and path and flow. I already put the beauty aside. I know lots of people. Producer Barbie is probably going to be interested in that show, but the inner side of it is additionally. I mean, we could try. I don't know. Anyway, so that's let's see. That's Alina Wilson. Then we have Ernia Wood, and she's fascinating. So she's a healer. She's a spirit. She has a lot of spirituality within her vibe, her realm, her place, and she has written books. She's got a really great platform, and I mean her website's just gorgeous, and all the stuff that is involved in, all the things that they champion for and produce for tons of people around the world. And one of the things that she just has out now, it's called Gemini. It caught my eye because I'm a Gemini. It's the Gemini Near Me, and basically it's a 24-hour a day dating app that uses AI to work within making your relationships. I mean, it's basically, I told you, AI is here, guys. We're going to have robots that we talk to that are our best friends, that give us advice on our love and our history and our past, and confidants of sorts. I'm not reading the future, but there's a lot of that already out there. And this app that she has is really, really fascinating. It's kind of that next step. It seems like, and she's an innovator. She in what she does, she definitely leads her compadres, leads the industry, leads this message well in front of everybody else. So I'm excited to have her on and talking about what she's doing. And then we're going to follow that up with Sorry about that. Michelle Davies. I was looking for her name because I'm going to ask her about that. Everywhere I look, her first name is spelled with a little m, and her second name is, or her house name, her proper name is spelled with a capital D, Michelle Davies. I thought that was interesting, and especially because she's a world renowned brain care expert. Um, she's an author. She really works in this area that I've been doing a lot of research on. And I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this right, but it's where is it? Her nationally acclaimed healer and over 3 decades of experience. I want to find the right word. Here it is. Osteopathy. Osteopathy. It's pronounced Osteopathy. It's basically taking a holistic approach, meaning the things that we do to calm ourselves and to create mental health. But this is an additional part, a practice that is involved in manipulating the body parts to relieve and to be able for it all to come and unite within itself. So that's a real fascinating one. I'm looking forward to seeing here in a bit. I think that's pretty much it for now. I mean, I've got like 5 or 6 storytelling with Thomas Wilson, Dr. Mary Lippitt, a 5-step process to successfully execute your peace and growth within the world. I better say that better. I was freestyling on that. Internationally recognized as a thought leader and implementing change, leadership mindsets, and situational analysis. And then, goes on. All of these things you can, what I always like to say, if you want the actual details and make sure the information's all right. I mean, I've got another half a dozen here. I've got another dozen I'm still putting in. We're booked past April. I don't remember where we are, but we're getting people that are actually booking, guests that are booking that are, because now we're adding these videos in that they're looking at it as their own information shout out. So they're putting in some things that make it a lot easier to absorb that without. Producer Barbie gets on me every once in a while and goes, "How we doing there? How we doing on the other side? Let's stay open as long as we can." So, hey, appreciate the support. One thing I wanted to talk about in politics, because I'm really starting to get really freaking, I'm just going to say really freaking pissed off. It's way more than that. I just don't understand. Please. Well, actually, I have 2 things. The politic thing, real quick. I just don't understand how people. There was a rally the other day, or maybe it was yesterday. Maybe I listen to all these different news stations, so I could kind of balance where the truth seems to be most supported. What truth that is, and really which ones have facts behind them, or just saying things, talking points. And that's really become a real issue, because the great middle class is the freaking great middle class. How the heck can you have, I don't know how large the crowds are, but people going to rallies saying that complete lies are acceptable? If you really know what's behind these different topics or talking points that people are talking about, not everything's perfect on either side of the aisle or the media aisle. Well, you got to say that now, media aisle, this side's for that side, this side's for that side. However, I think one side's way worse in that they're lying completely. There are no statistics, no facts, no nothing backing it. It's just little paddle signs, and like they say, all we're doing is we are disrupting the current administration. They have this excuse that the country is being taken over and evil because we're trying to cut the budget. We're trying to, not we, They, if I could only be that good. We're trying to cut the. They are trying to cut the the bureaucracy and crap that happens in. What do we got? 7 million people that work for the government. I mean, it's some huge, ridiculous number. 5 million, maybe. I don't know. But how can people listen to the message that comes from the right, let's say, about that subject, and then compare it to the message that comes from the left, let's say? And this is why I don't believe in any party. I believe in a purpose, Donald Trump was elected to do the exact same things he's doing now by however many people it was. It was a thing that people said, oh, thank God. We got to quit doing this other stuff. And thank God somebody's here and I think can make it happen. He's diving in and, with both feet and fixing things. Everything that he's associated with, you tell me, is there any of those programs or those places where there isn't a really bad problem that needs fixing? Why are the American people supporting the radicals on the left who are afraid of being caught, who are afraid of losing power? Don't people see that yet? And if I'm the one that's totally seeing this wrong, a lot of people are, but a lot of people are on both sides. I don't get how this isn't like people in the United States say, we want 70% say we like what they're doing in this thing. And we have 25% that think something else. I don't know. It was a recent poll somewhere in what Donald Trump is doing and compared to what he asked for. And then you constantly hear on the news from the talking heads, let's call it on the left, that are constantly saying that our democracy is in danger, and I mean constantly repeating things that have already been proven false, but they continue to use them to drive. You know how evil that is? You know how absolutely evil that is. Sorry, I want to make sure my sound was on. This would be a wasted. How long we been on here? Look. Be a wasted 17 plus minutes. But anyway, I listened to my family growing up. We lived in a split political house. One was not stunned. Both were in the middle, but one was more of a Republican support, the platform of the Republican Party at that time. And then the another, I'm not going to tell you who, but you can probably guess. The other was a Democrat. They both sadly passed a little bit ago, quite a while. But during that time, America was working within, as far as we knew, the best system, in that we had people, on this side of the aisle and people on this side of the aisle that wanted to get to the same end point. That was the whole thing. This is what's best for the American people. This thing that we're going to support to do. And then the Democrats would give their side of the story, their approach, and then the Republicans towards the same action, their approach. And it was fascinating because it was excellent. I mean, here's our platform. This is what we stand for. Now, did they always keep with it? No, that's part of the problem. And it started to erode politicians feeling like they really needed to be truthful, much less effective. Their whole job is to be reelected, and that's wrong. That you shouldn't have to be working to be reelected. You should be earning to be reelected. And we as a people need to be thoughtful enough to respect their earning, their efforts, their potential, and in some cases their already results. So that's a really important thing, and we need to be able to kind of move forward and not be separated again. We're still there. We're not there. We're not out of the woods. The second thing I was going to ask, there I go again, man. But keep supporting us. I love the help. I appreciate it. We're going to be working on a few new programs that people are asking for. Things like a little bit more substantial. Yeah, I don't want to bust up my my podcast manager. He'll probably he's probably shaking in his boots right now, saying I'm going to say something that totally is wrong, and I'm not going to do that. So as of now, we've got a lot of things coming down the pike. We've got a lot of things that we're working on. Primarily, we're working on the different messages that we had. You heard there from people, all over the world in the middle class coming together and realizing that the common needs and the common threats are all the same. At this point, let's just keep going at it, guys. I'm really getting tired. I'm really getting frustrated frustrated. It's aggravating because we should be so much farther along. The people flat out, straight out lying. I'd love to see somebody ever debate that back and then only use facts. I hate to, facts. It's always emotional, and you get frustrated because how do you educate that person if they listen to facts and don't go, oh, let's talk about that, versus getting amplified, aggressive, emotional. What's a good word? Wacky. No, let's keep it professional. Anyway, I'd love to have that happen. So with that, we're going to have, I was just talking to producer Barbie, and there's a number of things we're tweaking together, and she's been really, really sick because she was going to come on here with me. We're going to do some edits, but she's got this migraine thing. And what's that thing that it's like when you get an inner ear thing and it makes you, anyway, I think she has that vertigo. That's it. What I wanted to also talk about is I've alluded to this, and I've got to get the whole YouTube channel organized. I get it. My couple of the people I work with are, dude, because we're growing and we're adding so much, it's not as easy as it should be. When you got 10 videos, it's not a big idea. It's not a big deal when you have 120 or whatever we have now and continuing. I had to get more space. I had to buy more space on the memory because I've got there are so much good, valuable stuff in there and so many great guests that keep coming back. But the second thing I talked about 3 or 4 things, but the second thing, and I'll end it on this, is we're at a point now where as you guys know, I have thousands of poems and several books. But let's go back to the poems part. And I have several friends who have poems, and we've worked together on different pieces. Let's call them poems and short stories and stuff. And a couple of them we've actually talked about, nothing serious yet or anything, but talked about putting an effort together for a book, like a table book, a book of poetry. And I just love that kind of stuff. That message delivered that way, there's really nothing better to it. Wonder why we have nobody showing up today. You guys like my guests more than me. That's okay. I can handle it. I can handle it. So what I want to know is, and actually one of our guests, I'm going to ask her about this, probably email her right now, but she also does like these voiceovers for her own books, a couple of things. I listened to a couple of them. One of my other friends that I started this discussion with has a friend who's got another voiceover thing. But hey, anybody listening, if you know anybody or do voiceovers, we're not rich, looking for well, I'm looking for people and just what I can figure out to make happen, because I got 1,000 poems, and some of the other guys that I want to build this. Our playlist is industrial stuff, um, medical stuff, politics and current events, and other ones across the way, and then of course the podcast is basically everything live. So I'm going to end with that. Anybody who knows anybody or hey, who's that? Oh, hey, sorry, I didn't even see you there. You snuck in on me. Anyway, if you guys know anybody that does voiceovers, help me out, give a brother a hand. And I've got a couple leads, but I really want to build that poem side, because this is about the entire middle class, and we're made up with different emotions, different thoughts, different ways we can entertain ourselves, different ways we get messages. And so, that I think is going to be a great, I think that's going to be a great playlist on our podcast, Insights and Straight Talk with Rod Duff and producer Barbie. You can find us on YouTube at RODDDUFF 1939. And when I say at, of course, I mean the at sign. Folks, look at, I glad I came on. I wanted to come on. I like coming on. It's kind of a, family kind of thing here, right? Like I always say, go out and say hi to somebody. Go out and wave at somebody you don't know. Open the door for somebody. Make a quick compliment or comment that's good, or a little laugh. Make somebody else's vibe, make somebody else's moment even better and than it is currently. And that's what we can do to start coming together. It's about joining the conversation. And with that, I'm out.
Hundreds of trillions of dollars coursing through our economic veins, there exists a pathway where no U.S. citizen needs endure poverty. Every child should be shielded from involuntary hunger and thirst. By eradicating greed and corruption, we pave the way forward. This chapter delves into the rationale behind our governmental expenditure and prompts a critical inquiry into how our leaders allocate our resources.